The war is currently costing us over £12 million a day. That's the same cost as employing 100,000 nurses and 150,000 care workers.
How did you feel about what you just heard from Tony Benn? Now, let's hear it again with the right pictures.
The war is currently costing us over £12 million a day. That's the same cost as employing 100,000 nurses and 150,000 care workers. The total cost of Afghan civilians dead, like the cost of war, is unknown, but cautious estimates exceed 40,000 people.
Did the visuals heighten the impact? The theory of data visualization is that a synthesis of storytelling, data regurgitation and visual design hits different parts of the brain, maybe less analytical, maybe more emotive. If true, that's a powerful tool. Take this one, what American voters care about. You can click on climate change and see how attitudes have changed year by year, Democrat and Republican. Then you can click on terrorism instead and do it all again. The process makes you feel stimulated and informed. But is it meretricious wallpaper dressed up as proper analysis?
In June last year, a computer virus called Stuxnet was discovered lurking in the databanks of power plants, traffic control systems and factories around the world. 20 times more complex than any previous virus code, it had an array of capabilities. Among them, the ability to turn up the pressure inside nuclear reactors or switch off oil pipelines, and Stuxnet could tell the system operators everything was normal.
It looks beautiful, but the visuals are just glorified subtitles. Is data visualization truly a new art form, or the illegitimate pop culture offspring of real analysis? Well, I'm joined by two data visualization specialists, David McCandless, who's the founder of the Information is Beautiful Awards, and Kenneth Neil Cukier, who's the data editor at The Economist magazine. And I guess the question is whether, to you first, you have a sense that we're actually taking more in, or that we're just taking it in a different way?
It feels like there's a lot more data around, a lot more information around, and we're looking for some kind of solution that enables us to gobble that information, understand it on the fly, when we're moving fast, and data visualization seems to be able to highlight patterns and relationships and transmit that understanding quicker than just reading text.
Do you think that it is more polemic? I mean, could we be told stuff in the way that, you know, sort of subliminal messaging used to work, that we might not be true, but we buy it more easily?
More polemic than words? Probably not. Data visualization is probably going to have the same attributes, the same benefits, and the same shortcomings as words as well. You can do a lot more with data than you might be able to do with words in some respects. You can do less in others. It's a new medium. It's here. There's a renaissance going on in terms of the new tools that we have with which to show highly quantitative information. But to say it's more polemical, probably not.
Let's have a look at a few of the examples. I know you've brought in a couple of your favourites, and our viewers will know this by our generic term, chart porn, which is a way of sort of getting people to look at things that they love to look at. Just talk us through what we're looking at there.
This is a visualization from Denmark looking at survey results about Islamic headdresses. And the designer here has taken the photographic option instead of just doing a normal pie chart and visualized it photographically and used, obviously, the medium itself to express it. So it's a way of opening up the subject, stopping that ennui that we often see when we see pie charts.
I mean, people can't, it's probably too small to read, but basically you've got the equivalent of the bar chart, haven't you, on the headband?
Yeah. And again, it's just taken it's using a different approach to visualize this data, and so it opens it up. Somebody might not be interested, suddenly is looking at it, it's got more impact, it's more memorable.
Take us through the next one, which is, I think, the 999 calls, right?
Oh yeah, so in New York they have a phone number 311 for non-emergency phone calls, municipal services, and this, going from left to right, is the frequency of certain types of calls over a 24-hour period, midnight on the left, right over to the right there. And so you have things like a noise, is the pink bar going through the middle. You've got dead animal removal, you know, roadkill, obviously a big issue in New York. Noisy neighbours, graffiti, and so on. So these are the
but
cause.
why is that more effective than a bar chart that could show me the same thing?
Because it's depicting it as a landscape, so you can roam it yourself and find your own connections, explore it, find your own patterns. It becomes something you can look at.
Well, it's also showing lots of variables all at once. I mean, it's showing a vast amount of information, extraordinary amount of information that you can seize immediately. So imagine if you worked in public services and you wanted to man people who are specialists with this form of complaint with the complaint itself at the time that these complaints are made. You would know that lost property you wouldn't want to put earlier in the day, you want to put in the afternoon. You know that now through this. Likewise, you would want to, maybe if it's dead animal removal, you want to do that quickly because it could be a source of health hazard. Likewise, you would know exactly when to put that person there who would know how to interact with the caller better to get emergency people to clean it up.
Well, I'm going to look at your examples because they pick out the US map and its states, but use it to very different effect. Just talk us through. I mean, this for me was quite a sort of, you know, a mind boggle when I saw it. I couldn't get my head around it.
Great. Good. I mean, well, not so great that it was a mind boggle, but I think that if you were able to, it's an interactive map, so if you were able to mouse over it, you'd be able to see more data and the numbers coming up. So, for example, Russia is where Texas is. There, what you're looking at is the map of the United States in the form of the GDP of the country that the state corresponds to. So Texas has $1 trillion worth of wealth in terms of the size of its economy. So does Russia, so we put Russia where Texas is. Likewise, Italy, who knew that little Italy, the boot of Europe, should have an economy which is about the 7th or 8th largest in the world, which is also the size of California. That's $2 trillion that is there. Likewise, Greece, we think, is a basket case right now in Europe because of the problems they face. Washington State is a small but important but small economy in America.
And you've got the same in population if we stay with this map, and I think it changes colour.
Quite right.
So talk us through now. So Saudi Arabia has got the same number of people as Texas.
That's right. So 25 million people in Saudi Arabia. It's, of course, one of the most geopolitically strategic countries in the world. Texas may or may not be strategic, depending on if you like burritos. But you can see that there they have, if you will, Texas punches above its weight in terms of being those 25 million people having a puissance geopolitically if it was its own state. And likewise, Poland has 37 million people. It's one of the larger countries in Europe. So too, California is a massive state for America, and you see that there. It's a way of reconceptualizing the United States. For many people, I think it's breathtaking to realize this one country with only one vote in the UN
has so much.
Has the heft that it does.
Just fascinating. Thank you both very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.